So, we're back now again after a little glitch last time. We've got James from the Sedonas, and we're going to be talking about a few things about what you're up to. Again, as we said before, you got my attention with some of the support slots that you'd done, which was great, and I've since listened to a few of your tracks, which are also really good. Quite a little bit diverse, I'd say, I think.
Yeah, but I try to do a little bit of everything.
We'll get into that. So, just quickly tell us a little bit about yourself, the band, and what you're all about.
Yeah, so my name is James. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. The band is comprised of Ryan Seiss on guitar, Casey Green on drums, and then we switch between bassists at the moment. We got Mr. Sam on bass, and then Dre Phelps on bass as well. But we're all Tennessee based, so good old Southern rockish kind of band.
Yeah. And has that got big influence on your music, do you think?
I think so. I grew up listening to a lot of, Lynyrd Skynyrd, some country. I mean, of course, all the classic rock stuff too, but for sure, I was really into Skynyrd and like the Allman Brothers and stuff. And same for the guitarist. He loves the Allman Brothers. So, yeah. Cool. Southern rock is kind of my thing.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So just tell us a little bit about your latest track, which wasn't released the last time we spoke, and it is now, and I've been listening to it. And again, it is what I would call country rock in the essence of the word. And so, tell us a little bit about how you wrote it, where you recorded it, and all that stuff.
So I wrote that. We had just done a tour with Dwight Yoakam, so I wrote that back in 2024, and then kind of workshopped it until like February of this year, and then we got into the studio. I think in March of this year. Finally recorded it, but the guitarist definitely added a lot to it. Ryan Seiss, he kind of helped co-produce these singles that we recently recorded. Mm-hmm. Obviously, his guitar parts are really intricate on that song. He's doing some really cool acoustic work on that too. So it's just a really sweet mixture of country and rock and some blues as well. So very driving, song.
Yeah, I did listen to the guitar in particular, actually, because it was quite impressive. The sort of solo stuff going on later in the track, and it's to me, it's quite complicated. I mean, I'm a guitarist myself, but not of that standard by any means. So it's quite impressive stuff, I think.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, he loves those old blues guys, and he's just very obsessive about his instrument, and he can do a lot on the guitar. He knows everything about it.
Yeah. So. I noticed one thing I noticed about the whole track was the mix is a little bit kind of very stereo width. The guitars and lots of stuff seem to be more on the right side. The sort of acoustic guitar and stuff seems to be more on the left side. It's quite spread in that sense.
Yeah.
Is that a deliberate mix?
Well,
idea?
So I don't know much about mixing, but the guy that we got to do this is the same one who's done some other projects of ours, and he's always had a very old school approach, almost like a live kind of mixing thing. So the whole panning of certain instruments to one side, certain instruments to the other, I think that's very old school. I think you go back and you hear a lot of Rolling Stones songs do that too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I dig it quite a bit. I think it's a cool thing. You don't hear too much anymore, I feel like.
Well, no, because I think a lot of stuff is very overproduced, I find, and has got a lot going on. Probably a lot more going on than maybe in your. I'm not sure how many tracks are on a mix you've got there. Quite a few, I imagine. But
as far as whistling along, it was acoustic guitar, electric guitar, bass, drums, one vocal, and I think that's it. Yeah.
So I mean,
pretty sparse compared to most, artists
I'd
these
say
days.
Less than 10 tracks or less is unheard of probably in
right.
the current mixing genre. I mean, people have 100 tracks, no problem. And which it just becomes super produced, and you a little bit. I prefer to hear what's going on, really.
No, I'm the same way. I like to hear things as live as they can be. I almost prefer live albums to actual studio albums,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I can
yeah.
hear everything, you know.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. It does sound really good.
I
So
appreciate it. Thank you.
the things, as we said earlier, the things that caught my attention was these sort of pretty amazing support slots that you managed to secure.
Hmm.
And do you want to tell us a little about that and how you got to do that?
Yeah, I know we talked about this last time. It's, unfortunately, I wish I had a more uh, complex answer or something, but it's really just comes down to me bugging people and just keeping on their radar for a long time and trying to get their attention. And you got to be polite about it, but it's been that simple. Just like repeatedly emailing people and hoping they give us a chance. And I would say like maybe a good 10% of the emails I send out actually get responses.
Hmm.
And then just building relationships with those people and hoping they'll have us back out. Um, so as far as the support stuff, that's kind of the best I could break it down. And guessing people emails,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
cold emailing things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but you've missed the best bit, and that is who they actually were. These bands. Do you want to tell us who they were?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Who, like Leonard Skinner, ZZ Top, the GooGoo Dolls. I mean, I have them all listed on the website, but yeah, it's been some very, very kind people who have given us chances and work, and very grateful
Yeah,
they did that for
I mean,
sure.
I think what comes out of this is that you still can get those opportunities without having. I'm not saying. I mean, you've got some pretty impressive numbers on Spotify and so on, but
Mhm.
we're not talking tens of millions or
Yeah, no.
millions of Instagram followers, which is what the the perception is at the moment is that you need that kind of profile to be able to.
Well, that or you have to be on with the agency or the manager in some way.
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of connection to them, which I don't. It's always been randomly emailing them.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I've always thought, up until I started doing this several years ago, I always thought that you had to have a big following to get spots like that, or you had to know these people personally to some degree to get these spots. But there are still some people out there who give chances to people, and they deserve a lot of credit for sure.
definitely, and it's a good consolation, I think, for people to think about that when they are thinking they're up against the machine and they're up against numbers and streams and all this. Where the reality is, you're not really. You can still get these opportunities by just doing the good old, trying to get older people. Just
Right, right.
get in there, get into their sort of inbox,
Hmm.
which I think
Exactly.
seems to have
Yeah.
worked for you. And just I know we spoke about it, but just give us a little bit of info into how those opportunities panned out. Did you get to meet the bands? Was everything good? Was it great gigs?
Yeah, I would say most of the time we get to meet the folks that we open for, or maybe 50-50. Um, but I mean, some of the bigger ones for sure, like the Who, we got to meet at least Roger Daltrey, I did, and then Pete Townsend did a signature for the bassist and stuff, so which was really cool. But yeah, no, they've all panned out really well. We've been really happy with the spots we've been given for sure. And some people have maybe some strict backstage policies you definitely got to abide by.
Hmm.
Uh, but besides that, and also keeping to a schedule for sure. You have to be very punctual with these bigger shows.
Yeah.
If you go over a minute, even sometimes it can be a problem, which has only happened like once with us, but
And
it
so
can be an issue. Yeah.
so on those sort of gigs when you're at that level with supporting a band of that sort of size, is everything you're all in ears? Is somebody talking to you? You click tracks? What's going on?
That's a great question. Yeah. So with the Who, it was all in ears because that was just like we were flying out for it. We couldn't bring a bunch of equipment, obviously. So that was all in ears. Normally, we do have monitors, though. Um, don't really have anyone talking in the in ears. I mean, besides maybe the sound guy, but it's not like there's anyone else giving us direction.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'm trying to remember what else you asked about that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like as far as equipment goes, you want to keep it to the bare basics. I mean, we don't have a bunch of equipment where a guitar, bass, drums, and vocal,
Hmm. Hmm.
and A lot of them like that because it's so simple. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
them, I think, have maybe dealt with openers who have keyboards or 10 members or something, and
yeah,
we're just four guys, and we keep it very, very simple. And staying out of people's way backstage too really helps as well. Just
yeah,
keeping to yourself and not bugging people is something they respect.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
And what sort of mix have you got personally as a vocalist in in ears?
Gosh, I'm still trying to figure that one out because sometimes I like to have hearing everyone, and then sometimes you get into a venue where you want to just only hear really your vocals,
Mm.
and it's just it's kind of venue by venue for me, honestly. Um, I would say normally I want to have a smidgen, as I put it to the sound guy. I usually say I want a smidgen of drums, a smidgen of bass, a smidgen of guitar, and then mainly my vocals, and then put a little bit of reverb on there so I don't feel all alone in my
Mm.
ears,
Mm. Mm.
And that's kind of what I do, but I don't know if I'd recommend that for everyone. That's just what helps me the best.
Yeah, no, it's definitely quite a personal mix, isn't it? I think really,
Yeah.
whatever your instrument you're doing, or whether you're vocalist or whatever, it's quite personalised. But I always
And
find
I'll
them
I'll
quite
pull
weird.
one out too. I'll pull an earbud out as well and leave one in
Yeah.
so I can hear kind of the echo out towards the audience
Hmm.
and get that feedback towards me.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's also in my ears as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. So, do you feel that those slots have helped you with your promotion, and what else have you been doing in your promotional world to try and get yourself out there?
I would say those spots have been the primary thing I've done for our promotion and whatnot. I've always kept it very straightforward with like who we're opening for, and slowly building up a fan base from those shows because we've been doing this for several years now, opening for some bigger folks, and just slowly finding people that like our music and kind of doing it the grassroots way, as they say. I will put, $100 or something behind a post on Instagram or Facebook. Um, but I would say the people that come out to shows are the ones who have seen us open for other people. Um, Honestly, those are the strongest fans. The ones who you can capture in the moment by opening for someone they already like. Um, that you really can't get any better than that. And then, of course, like I was saying the last time, I've reached out to independent Spotify playlisters. So not people that work for Spotify, but people that are, just like random people that had a Spotify playlist blow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the types of people that I will track down and send them several messages, see if they want to listen to our stuff and add a song to it. And that's helped too. That's gotten us quite a bit of streams on the songs. And I was telling you the last time, one time I had done, it was, I don't know if you call it a PR. I don't think it's PR, but someone who ran a Spotify campaign or something.
Mm.
And we did that with Happens Right. And I don't know, I would say I would, I prefer personally talking with the playlisters that I find and staying on their radar rather than going through a middleman.
Yeah. Yeah.
While the middlemen do have connections, I am I like to be in control of that stuff on the promotional side of things
Mm.
as of right now. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, obviously, I'll message fans too. If we have a show in their area or something, I'll message them about tickets going on sale or something like that. But yeah, I try to keep it all very personal with the people who follow us and with the people who have pages that can give us opportunities. I was getting into the different promotional things that I've done. I will say the one other thing I've started recently doing is reaching out to publications on my end and just kind of doing cold emails their way to see if they'd be interested in writing on us, like bigger folks. And American Songwriter had done a feature on us, which they're a pretty good sized publication.
Mm.
And then there's one that just recently panned out the other day that we'll be doing like a actual interview with, and we'll see where that goes. But they're definitely interested in us, and that's Guitar World. So
Right,
that'll
yeah.
be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know to what extent we're going to be, featured in there. It could just be, kind of fit in somewhere small, but still, that'd be really cool. So yeah, we're doing a interview with, I think it's Joe Basso is his name that
Right.
writes for them.
Okay.
But yeah, their senior editor I just hit up for maybe 5 or 6 months straight, and yeah, I guess he had some interest in us. So that's another thing I'm doing promotionally is just kind of cold emailing press people
Yeah,
lately
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we established last time you don't have any real management at all. You kind of do a lot of it
No.
yourself and all that sort of thing. So what's kind of your next mission?
Yeah, I think I was talking about this the last time. I mean, obviously, continuing to get the support spots and building a fan base from those. I don't know if there's really a better way to earn fans than that kind of, live environment of doing that. But obviously, playing more shows, headlining ourselves to the point where we can have enough people coming out for us only and playing, good capacity places doing
Mm,
that.
mm.
So that's definitely the next mission is kind of building our image up to be able to do that. Um, and then, like I said, we've recorded several singles earlier this year, and we'll time the next one probably around the time that Guitar World piece comes out. But yeah, we've got another one that's kind of honestly the single. The next single is going to be kind of more country rock as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just kind of doing a few like that this year for
Mm,
sure.
mm. Funnily enough, I've just done a couple of guitar effects pedal reviews, which go back to about 1994 or 92 when they came out.
Okay.
And the guy I did it with, he had some copies of Guitar World or Guitarist
Mhm.
magazine, whatever they were at the time, with those
Yeah.
pedals in, kind of $400-500, and
Okay.
now kind of maybe $40 or something. Just
Yeah.
they're worth nothing, but they're cool pedals. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so again, but going back to the gigs and whatnot, especially the support slots. How do you get on with
Mhm.
merchandise and that sort of? Do you do merchandise?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do you
I
get on with
actually,
those gigs?
so starting with merchandise for sure, I started making my own merch like by hand, like airbrushing,
Hmm.
a few years ago, and it really helped with I mean, keeping things rustic for sure and unique looking, but also keeping costs down as well. So I had the time to airbrush some merch, and then eventually that started selling, well at shows and whatnot. And I bring it basically in this huge like wooden crate that also flips up,
Hmm.
so it's also like on display. So it's like part of our advertising as well at these shows
Yeah, yeah,
because it's got our name on it too. And if you look at the '79 session, that album cover is the crate that I have at shows that
mm.
goes on display. So it's a pretty good sized thing that catches people's eyes. But yeah, so I'll post up before shows and sell shirts and hats and stickers and CDs. CDs still sell really well. I don't know if
Really.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of crazy. They still sell well, even though a lot of people maybe don't have CD players in their cars anymore. They still sell well. But yes, I do CDs, stickers, hats, shirts. I'm going to start doing hoodies this year. Um, I don't know. I think that's all of them. I have it all listed on the website. Posters. We have one signed poster that I do.
Mm.
But yeah, sell that a little bit before the show, before we play. We'll generally go play for 30, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. And then I'll come back out right after playing, right when I'm all, sweaty and whatnot from the show,
Yeah.
and start selling again until the headliner gets done playing
Sure.
and people leave the venue. But yeah, so I take, I travel around with all the merch to shows and whatnot. And I, try my best to restock in between shows and
Yeah. I think
make more shirts. But
with,
yeah,
with
yeah.
the CD thing, it is a bit strange, but I think a lot of kind of maybe relatively younger people nowadays, I mean, see a CD as just a memento or a thing of the gig that they've done. Not necessarily to actually play it. Do you know, like people
Mhm.
buy hats and don't wear hats. People buy
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
things as mementos of what they've done but never actually use them. So I think sometimes a CD, and I'm sure we spoke about this.
Like a vinyl
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
I found with looking at some old cassettes. Actually, I know we talked about that as well previously. Some cassettes, that the amount of information on a cassette card inside when you pull it out,
Mhm.
it's quite a lot of information about the band. You usually get all the lyrics, you get things about the
Yeah.
band, you get the members of the band, and some history and some chat. There's some images, lots of stuff on there, even when it's tiny. But
Hmm.
you don't get that, do you? With anything else, you certainly don't get it with the digital download very often.
No, that's right. Yeah. Well, our CDs I keep also pretty simple as well. Just the least costly kind of like sleeve CD thing,
Mm,
but there's still, a back to it that you don't see on digital sites,
mm, mm.
so the whole physical thing is cool too. And I know for sure that people will sometimes just have the CD just to put up in the house, or
Yeah,
just have me
yeah, yeah,
sign something,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, I'm very happy people still buy CDs. It's nice. I'm glad physical media is still moving a bit out there.
Definitely, definitely. And I know the vinyl thing is still a bit quirky, but people are buying that as well.
Yeah,
If you,
yeah, we haven't done vinyl yet. Those things are very expensive these days.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just to put them into production, yeah.
So, what do you see as the biggest obstacle in your way to get into your next level?
I was talking about this the last time, but I do think the whole thing with fuel prices lately here is a big problem for the touring
Yes,
industry.
yes, I
That's
remember. Yeah,
that's that's killing some big shows for sure. So hopefully that gets taken care of. But I would say, I mean, really everyone's dealing with it who's a younger artist and even middle artists too. But I would say just oversaturation as well, like in trying to find your own way of sticking out to people.
mm,
And I truly do think that while social media can really help with that, I do think that the live scenario is really the best way to connect with people. And if you can put on a solid live show where you connect with folks, I don't think there's anything better than that. I think that's the most basic thing, and that's worked for people for decades and decades, or I mean longer than that, but you know what I mean. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very simple way to connect with people, and I think that's better than any kind of viral video of some kind that you're trying to make. And I know
mm,
those help greatly too, but I'm just saying for most artists, there's a lot of people chasing a viral video, but I just think your time would be better spent trying to put effort into a live show as well. I just
definitely.
think that's the best thing.
I'm a big believer in the live stuff. Like I've said before to people, you want to sell something, you probably get more cash busking in the street for a couple of hours than you will off digital downloads in 12 months
Yeah,
for some artists. They just
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you'll probably get more genuine interaction with people who might then go home and look you up and listen to more of your stuff and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So I don't know. Are you playing local gigs to you sort of regularly?
So my guys will play in some other groups as well locally. I don't. I'm generally pretty tied up with emailing people and annoying people over email.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll play some local things for sure, but it's not a consistent thing where we have like a residency anywhere or
mm,
anything like
mm,
that. But yeah, there's some great spots around East Tennessee for sure.
yeah. And how big do you think you need to be before you need someone else to look after it all for you? Before you need some sort of management or whatever to actually pull it all together?
That's a great question because like it's really funny. I didn't figure this out the other day, but until the other day, but Limp Bizkit, the lead singer Fred Durst, he's actually the manager for that band.
Mm,
So like even bands of that size who are going playing amphitheaters and arenas and stuff, I mean, sometimes the member or members are still managing the band. But I don't know. I would say I would definitely want to try to be managing it for as long as I can be,
mm,
just because it's worked so far pretty well. Um, but I think when it comes to like booking, I don't. I think it. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to having someone help me book shows. That
mm,
would probably be a lot less stress for me for sure.
mm.
Um, so yeah, if the right person came along and wanted to help with that and we could come to an agreement on that in some way, I think I'd be open to that. But
Yeah, yeah.
as far as the managing goes, I think I'm always going to probably want to be the one that's kind of managing stuff as of right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot for that nowadays, especially more so. I mean, in the past, I think people didn't know even what to do. So,
Hmm.
but now there's so much information out there about how to do it and what to do and what not to do. More importantly, it's
Right.
it if you've got your head screwed on and you're fairly logical about things, I think you could probably take it quite a long way on your own.
I think so as well. I think there's just a lot of people that have, in this business that go up to you and say they know what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Mm, mm.
And I think sometimes you can go down the wrong path doing that kind of thing. Listen to people where is it if you go off your intuition, you at least know yourself better. So you can do like, hey, I'm capable of this. I'm not capable of that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's just the way I've always operated. I just, and then if you make a mistake, it's on you and you don't really have anyone to blame. And
for
I
sure.
prefer that, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's definitely the case. I think you can do a lot of it yourself, and like I say, you just got to be a bit level-headed about it, not try to get too ambitious, and like you just said there, things that there's always somebody out there who'll tell you they can help you get more or further or better than you already are, but
Right, right.
quite often you have to look at their kind of back catalogue or whatever and say, well, what reference have you got to show me that you can do this? Because a lot of them have
Yeah.
got no history whatsoever.
Well, a lot of the people too that you find who are able to help you don't normally go out of their way to tell you how much they can help you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
lot of them kind of just do it. Um, so that's the whole other thing. But yeah, it's an interesting industry that attracts a lot of people, unfortunately, I think that want to take advantage of others.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
have to be really, really wary of that. And I can be pretty naive sometimes. So it's a battle, to
For
figure that
sure.
out for sure.
Yeah. And how are you getting on then with things like streaming sites, Spotify probably in particular? How are you managing that? Is it okay? Like I said earlier, you've got some pretty good numbers on Spotify.
Hmm.
I think you said one of them came particularly through a playlist, which is
Yeah.
again interesting because I see a lot of people talk about playlisters and playlisting about I just don't bother, it's a waste of time and all that. But clearly, at some point, it's helped you guys along. So
It's yeah, it's not a waste of time. I definitely will say that. We have gotten work before because a promoter or someone had heard us on Spotify and liked us. So that has happened before.
mm,
And because they heard us on Spotify was because we got added to some playlist they listened to and it was a bigger playlist, like an independent
mm,
playlist.
mm.
So so definitely it does help for sure. Um, and I would think that just my strategy of talking to independent playlisters, I'd recommend, for other people as well. I think it helps you reach more people, and it just gets you familiar with them. And I know I've met people at shows who have heard us on playlists and whatnot, and because they heard us on the playlist, they then were very tuned into us at the show and then wanted to
Mm.
support us afterwards and buy merch and whatnot. Um, so it definitely has its benefits, keeping a good streaming profile up, but it's very hard because
So, so how are you finding the playlist that you want to target?
so generally I'll go to, let's say, an artist that's doing pretty well, and I'll go on Spotify, and you can go to like also heard on or something. I
Hmm.
forget what the tab is called, but it's something like also heard on or like on this playlist, and I'll have playlists that are like related to the artist in some way that the artist is on.
Yeah.
And you go look for the ones that are not Spotify because I've never been able to reach really anyone at Spotify. I've tried, but it's not happened yet. But you want to go find the people who have their own playlists and you want to go look at the profile. And I'll go look at the profile, and sometimes it's just their name, and they'll have a profile picture, and you can go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and
Mm.
try to shoot them a message and see if they're open to it. That's worked for some of the biggest playlists we've gotten on and gotten a lot of streams from, and some of those people, um, I would say I'm friends with now, and we talk quite a bit.
Mm.
So um, that's worked for me. That's what I've done generally, is just kind of tracking them down through the profile that
Sure.
I can find related to it. But it's not always easy because sometimes it's just the first name or something, and then
Yeah, yeah.
you got to go off of some other information you can try to find on the profile to find them. But um, it's very difficult, but it's worth it in the end if they give you a chance and want to add your music to the playlist.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the new single is out now, and that seems to be doing okay by the looks.
Yeah. It's gotten a good response. We played it um, the last couple nights here at some shows, and so yeah, it's I think it's reached some people who maybe wouldn't, because I put some advertising revenue behind it on socials and whatnot, and
Mm.
I do feel like it's reached some people who maybe would normally listen to us, but because we're kind of doing more of a hybrid of country and rock, maybe they're more open to it now. So it's definitely reached some folks who maybe aren't into rock
Mm. Mm.
as our normal fan base is. Um, so yeah, it's definitely, I think, doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the response it's gotten so far.
And so, what's the core sort of audience demographic in a gig in a local venue where you are?
Um, I would say, like, you're talking about just for us playing or for some of our
Uh,
support spots.
well, would you play if you were at a venue? Would there be
Mhm.
just you on, or would there be maybe two or three artists on in the same night?
We have done gigs here where it's just us, and then we might have an opening act or something. I would say our demographic, I mean, it's very mixed. I mean,
Mm.
we have people who are maybe in their 60s, and then some people who are maybe in their 20s, and then some people who are maybe in their 30s come out. So like, you know, all the way from, boomers to Gen X to
Mm. Mm.
even millennials and my generation. So it's just kind of mixed from what I can tell. And then if I go on, let's say Spotify, and I go
Mm.
look through the breakdown of age groups,
Mm.
the graph is actually, it's kind of weird. It's I think it's pretty even among all age groups. I
Right.
haven't looked at it for a few months, but the last time I had looked at it, it was pretty even, starting from like teens to
Mm.
older
Mm.
people in their 60s and 70s. So um, yeah, we kind of reach a lot of different folks.
What's
As far as the,
what's the male female split? You check that out as well.
I think I can look at that real quick actually. I think it is it 60/40? I think it is more male than female. But let me look at the demographic there real quick if it'll still show me on my app here. Um, audience. See, I know where to find it on the computer.
And where?
Here it is. It's 70. Okay, so in the last 28 days, it's been 70. 28 days, it's been 72% male and 23% female.
And what about
So yeah,
location? Where are they? Are they US or
I
generally?
think it's primarily U.S. Let me look. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So we've got over half of our listeners in the United States,
Hmm.
and then the rest is like Canada, Germany, Australia. Um, yeah.
So we
So,
need to get you going in the UK then. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, potentially. I think that we have some. I want to say we had one of our top cities in the UK. Yeah, London is like our 14th most listened to city.
Okay,
So
that's not so bad.
yeah, and then we've got some Canada stuff too. Um, Australia, of course, in there as well. But yeah, yeah, it's pretty mixed as far as the demographic goes for us.
That's good
So
though.
I
I
think,
think
yeah,
don't get too bogged down in one sort of little slot. Becomes hard to
yeah, and
break
like
out
I
of that.
said, we reach folks who are into country and folks who are into rock here lately with the last release that we had done. So I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think just quickly now, but touch on the actual scene over there at the moment with venues. I think you said before there was quite a lot of it. I know generally that sort of area is renowned for music, and but are
Mhm.
venues surviving still?
Um, I think they are. Yeah, I know that. it has been tough lately here for sure with the economy, and I know it's tough in the UK and pretty much everywhere else right now, from what I can tell from the
Sure.
news. So yeah, venues are surviving. I just think that um, there definitely has to be some things figured out as far as getting the economy's boost lately here to kind of improve um, audiences and people's ability to spend money on concert tickets and
Mm,
supporting venues for
mm,
sure.
mm.
Yeah.
But they are still there and still going.
They are, yeah, they are still there, and there's still a good audience for sure out there.
Does it
Yeah.
tend to be a dedicated music venue, or is it kind of a bar, come maybe even a restaurant with a gig going on in the background or the back room, or what's the sort of makeup of the buildings there for gigs?
Um, so there's a place near me that we've played at. We won a competition there several years ago, but it's called the Cotton Eye Joe, and that's got, obviously a lot of, it's a Western place, but it's got a lot of country bands coming in there and country artists coming in there, and it's definitely smaller, but it's doing pretty great. I think that's a good place for live music around me. Um, there's other places, other clubs, for sure, that we've played at that have people still coming out to them. Some of them are more downtown. Some of them are more like historic buildings, for sure.
What's a ticket price?
Yeah, I would say
What's a ticket price like for a typical gig in your area?
if you're looking at like local bands and whatnot, I would say it usually lands somewhere between 10 to maybe $15. And then if it's like a smaller touring band that's playing like a 200, 300 person room, it might be more like 20, $25.
Mm.
And then of course, like, I mean, I'm sure you've heard about the stuff with Ticketmaster lately, but on some of the bigger shows at theaters and stuff, some of those tickets can get pretty high up there for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, James, it's been good talking to you again, and and I really hope it all works out. And I'd like to touch base with you again in maybe a few months and just see what you're up to and see how well it's going, and see what other super support slots you've secured.
Yeah, that'd be great, Tim. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Well, listen, good luck with everything you're doing, and we'll talk again.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.